Good afternoon and welcome back to Chamber South's Member Spotlight with our partners here at Miami Community Newspapers. My name is Brittnie Bassant and I'm the Executive Director for Chamber South. And today I have with me Miss Sam Pencar. It takes a little bit of a while for us to get used to her name. She's recently married, so we all know her by Sam Caparelli, but we have Samantha Pencar with us today. She's with Zoo Miami's Young Professionals Group Wild Bunch. Sam, such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here and share about Wild Bunch.
Okay, perfect. So Sam is a huge animal lover and has been involved with this world and this field for a very long time. So tell me about that journey.
So I started my journey with animals as far back as I could remember. There was never like a defining moment, but I always knew I was set out to work with animals in some capacity. And so once I got through school, I came back home to Miami and started in an internship program at Zoo Miami as a zookeeper. And I've worked in several different capacities at the zoo. I've cared for some of the carnivores, some of the big pachyderm like our elephants. And at some point, I just got a feeling that I wasn't fulfilling everything I set out to do. I wanted to have more of a community-facing role and be more of an advocate for the animals versus working the husbandry side. And so I traded in my rake and shovel for an opportunity to work at Zoo Miami Foundation on their development team. And advocate on behalf of the animals at the zoo and connect with our community. And that's how I started my career with Wild Bunch from an employment standpoint. And then since I have moved on to work at the world's largest chimpanzee sanctuary and have been roped back into Wild Bunch as our current chairwoman. And so that's where I am today.
Wonderful. Okay, so you started at the zoo as a zookeeper, and then you worked for the zoo in fundraising and development. Now you're with another organization, Chimp Haven, correct? World's largest chimp sanctuary. And now you're with Wild Bunch again. That's really, really, really exciting. So what is Zoo Miami's Wild Bunch?
Wild Bunch is the young professionals group that supports Zoo Miami as well as Zoo Miami Foundation. We are comprised of over 50 members from varying career fields. It's not just zookeepers. Actually, I think there's probably not anyone in the animal field.
You're probably the only one. Okay, hang on, guys. Full disclaimer. I'm also very active with Wild Bunch. I was a past chair of Wild Bunch, so I can really speak a lot to this topic, which is why at some points you'll hear me say we, or I obviously I'm very much involved with Wild Bunch. Anybody that knows me, I'm very much involved with Zoo Miami. But yes, I don't think we really have anyone. No. You're like the biggest one.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have various careers. We have lawyers, we have doctors, we have real estate, financial advisors, IT tech. So we're a really diverse group of individuals from this local area, and we all have a shared passion for animals and wanting to improve Zoo Miami. And so together we fundraise and we advocate for the zoo, and then we get to have some really awesome benefits and perks of being involved in the zoo that not other young professional groups have. And I think that's what distinguishes us.
Yeah. So let's, again, because I know so well all the different opportunities at Wild Bunch. So let's kind of walk it through. So you don't have to be an animal rights activist. You don't have to be like someone who's working in the animal field to join Wild Bunch or this young professionals group. It really is geared towards young professionals who just want to make a difference and have an impact with the zoo. How do you become a member?
So we have a membership. We have two tiered memberships. We have an advocate level, which is $250, and it's a philanthropic contribution to Zoo Miami Foundation, which also supports Zoo Miami. And we have an executive level membership, which is $500 for the year. And the difference between the two memberships is your level of engagement and your level of opportunity. So as an executive member, you get to hold a leadership position in the group. You also get some voting rights on projects, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. And it's a more involved membership than the advocate membership. And so you can join online. We have rolling admissions acceptances, and it's an active group. It's growing, and so if this is something that you're interested in, we would love to have you.
If you love animals and you love the zoo and you're a young professional, this is definitely the place to be.
Yes.
Okay, so I know Wild Bunch has a bunch of different things. It does social engagement with the members, it does professional development, and it does obviously things with the zoo in terms of animal enrichment. So let's talk about the social engagement aspect with, as a young professionals member, what do you get from this group?
So like most young professional groups, we enjoy social happy hours and social networkers. We have developed really strong friendships within our group, and I think that's what's a great part about the group is the camaraderie.
It's like you're joining a family.
Yeah,
it really
absolutely.
is. It really is. I mean, like when I say like, oh, Sam recently got married. I mean, a bunch of Wildbitch members were at your wedding.
Yeah,
and like,
absolutely. It's a close knit group.
Yes.
And I think that stems from a shared passion, not only for like personal networking or a self-fulfilling reason to join a young professionals group, but because we have this opportunity to make an impact in one of South Florida's like most hidden gems. And so as you walk through the zoo, you can see the impact that the group has made, and you yourself can walk through and say, I was a part of that. And I think that is one of the most exciting parts about the group.
So let's talk about those impacts.
Yes.
What are those? Because I know there's two. There's obviously our enrichment bills and then our keeper projects.
Yes. So as part of your membership to the group, you get to have exclusive behind the scenes access to the zoo. Sometimes that's an exhibit improvement. We have gone out to help keepers beautify their exhibits or beautify their back of house areas where
Sam makes it sound really, really glamorous because she's using words like beautify. And it's definitely interesting. You're hands on, but it's great. It's so much fun.
It's definitely sweat labor, but when you look back at 2 or 3 hours after your project and you see this beautiful area that has been raked and it has been tidied, it really makes a huge difference on the impact of the zookeeper's ability to provide great care for the animals. That's one side of it, but then a fun side to our enrichment projects is we get to meet with the keepers and talk about like what could the animals really use, something that maybe they don't have time in their day to build.
So wait, hang on, because we're saying the word enrichment. So for those that don't know, what is enrichment, and then how do we contribute to that?
Okay, enrichment is enrichment can be it varies. It can be any sort of opportunity to engage the animal's senses. It could be something visual. It could be something that they play with. It could be something they smell. It's just an opportunity to change their environment.
So they don't have like a Groundhog Day syndrome.
Yes.
Right.
And it stimulates them mentally and or physically or both. And so we get an opportunity to build some large enrichment items that take tools that take multiple hours to build that maybe a zookeeper wouldn't have the chance to build in their day-to-day, but the animals truly love it and possibly need it. And so one of my favorite items that we built was for our resident orangutan, Bella, and she loves to swing and hang out on her exhibit. And so we built her a hammock swing. And that was quite a project.
With fire hose and like, what was it too?
It was like a corrugated pipe that we cut, fire hose we measured and
we
cut.
Like weaved. We were doing like basket weaving in the early hours of the morning, but then that went up on exhibit and had same day.
And we got to see Bella go out and investigate her swing and then use it.
And that was, I want to say that was 3, maybe even 4 years ago. It went up on exhibit same day, and to this day it is still on exhibit at Zoo Miami at the orangutan exhibit. So if you go to Zoo Miami and you walk past the orangutan exhibit, you see this interesting little fire hose looking swing.
It's a hammock. She loves it.
Hammock. Wildbitch did that, and that's just one example of countless enrichment bills that we've done.
Yes, we have done some for Hank our sloth bear. We've done some for the giraffe and also the enrichment items, some of them, not all of them, but can be shared amongst other animals that we didn't intend to build it for. So for example, we set out and built something for the giraffe, but it was shared with the rhinos and some of the other species in that area. So we kind of expand our impact more than we know. And then the second side of our involvement is our ability to improve the zoo through projects. And so throughout the year, we have social events that generate revenue. And we have a great working relationship with Zoo Miami, and they match our funds that we raise dollar for dollar, and we get to reinvest those dollars back into the zoo, into a project that the zookeepers themselves present that would not necessarily make the master plan, the 10-year expansion or renovation of the zoo. These are smaller projects, but they're just as important. And so as a zookeeper myself, I can really appreciate how important it is to have an opportunity to improve your animal's welfare or your exhibit. And so it's really awesome to be able to give that back. And like we said earlier, you walk through the zoo and you can say, if you visit the camels, Wild Bunch renovated that project pre-COVID, but that was our last big project we've done. And you can walk by and say, we've done that. Or if you go to Amazon and Beyond and you go to the mangroves, you can see that we've installed mangrove filtration systems that has improved the algae in the lake, which is not only beneficial for the animals, but also the guest experience. As you walk through, you don't want to smell smelly algae or see algae growing in the lake. So it is a double whammy, really.
Yeah. And it also, what it does is it gives you an appreciation for the animals that we work with. So I know that we did a really tiny project for the anaconda exhibit, which it wasn't huge. It was, very small in terms of scope and monetary commitment dollars. But now I think every single Wild Bunch member has this attachment to this anaconda in the Amazon and Beyond exhibit, because we renovated her exhibit so that there's more lighting, that she's not in the water all the time, and you can actually see her, and you wouldn't know of those differences as a regular guest. But when you really get involved with the zoo, get involved with the group, you have access to that information. So one big thing about Wild Bunch is the ability to be so hands-on. So with the enrichment bills, obviously you're hands-on, you're there, you're building the item, and then you're putting it out on the exhibit. You get to see it from concept to creation to like completion to enjoyment. Like it's the whole, you're there every single step of the way, and every single step of the way is usually within the span of 5 to 6 hours. Tell me a little bit about these keeper projects, because I think that's where the membership levels really come into play in terms of having voting rights and ability. But so tell me a little bit, it's kind of like a Shark Tanky type of a deal. So explain.
It's really interesting. Zookeepers propose projects that fit within the budget, and it doesn't have to occupy the entire budget. But they propose these projects that are really important to improve animal welfare, guest experience, possibly have an input on conservation. And as the general members, we get to review these projects and kind of decide what projects we want to push forward. And that's all levels of membership, whether you're an advocate level or an executive, you get to have a say on what projects move forward to the next round. And then we invite those next round project proposals to come into a live presentation. So it's a visual presentation in person where the keepers can really talk like in-depth detail, nitty-gritty about what they envision for this project, how they're going to utilize the funds, how are we going to measure whether it really made a difference to the animals. And so from that presentation, those are opportunities for our executive level members to sit in on the presentations, ask questions, evaluate the proposals, and then the executive level members are actually the ones that get to make the final decision on what projects get funded. And in the past, we have funded one large project, but we've also funded multiple small projects, depending on how we want to divide the budget. But the coolest part about that is that we get to pick as members. We get to decide, we get to allocate funds, we get to volunteer as the project is happening, and then we get to celebrate it once it's done.
And then we do this every year. And then every 12 months it resets and you just keep doing it. So it's really an opportunity to consistently contribute to the mission, to enhancing Zoo Miami, to making a difference, making an impact. I think one of our taglines for Wild Bench is meet the animals, make an impact. Join Zoo Miami's Wild Bench. I think we're getting ready to wrap up. I think my God, Sam, you've covered so much information.
It's a wonderful group.
Really, it is. It really is. It's really a great group. How can someone, if they wanted to join Wild Bunch, what would be the next step?
The next step would be simply to just go online, zoomiami.org/wildbunch. And there's an option on top right corner to join the membership.
She's getting really specific.
Just want you to know where to go.
It's on the webpage, guys.
It's on the website. And you can join, fill out an application, and someone from the foundation will reach out to you in terms of next steps for membership. We're really excited to continue to grow our group and re-engage after COVID. So we're happy to get back in person, get back to the zoo, and start growing our membership and furthering our impact. So if you're out there, come join us. We're happy to welcome you to the group.
Absolutely. I can second everything that Sam says. I've been involved with the group really since Sam started. So for about 4 years or so, maybe a little bit longer. And it's an incredible group. It's an incredible organization, and it really helps you make a difference as a young professional. If there's something that you want to invest your time and talents to, I can truly attest to the integrity of Zoo Miami and Zoo Miami's Wild Bench. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. Again, this has been Chamber South Member Spotlight. If you are interested in being on our show, this is great. It's a great opportunity for our members. Feel free to reach out to us at chambersouth.org, or you can call our office 305-661-1621. But we will see you next week for the next Member Spotlight. Thank you.